cold calls are not sustainable. It is
Mm.
not a sustainable business model. You know who is a sustainable business model for? Someone that has no personality, that wants to lock themselves in a closet and make phone calls and drive people crazy.
All right, welcome to this interview. Here we have Geraldine from Hudson County, Hoboken, New Jersey. So, welcome to this call.
Hey, Posse, nice to be here.
Yeah, 100%. So, you have a really, really interesting story and really background and really the market too. So, you're basically in Hoboken, New Jersey, right? But you focus on like the Hudson County, like the larger area, right?
Yes, yes, I do.
Nice, nice. And the reason why I wanted to bring you on here is because the way you build really the business is really a lot through using social media. So I've been using Instagram, YouTube, different platforms like this. And in your market, I guess like it is pretty competitive, right? In the area
Yeah.
that you're in,
Yeah,
right?
fiercely competitive.
Yeah, because you have basically Manhattan, right? It's right on the right side of you from the
Yeah, it's
Hudson
right
River.
across the river. And Hoboken, Hudson County is fairly large, but Hoboken is
Mm,
1.3 square miles, and the population, though, is about 55,000. So it just gives
mm,
you perspective. It's a very small, tiny piece of property, but
mm.
it is very densely populated.
Yes, and I think you said like the properties they can range from like a couple hundred thousand to like $1.5 million. So it's
Oh,
like a
more than
very
that. Like if you're in
mm,
if you're in Hudson County, so Hudson County, things could be as low as 175,000 for a co-op.
mm,
But once you start going into Hoboken and parts of Jersey City, you could pay for a condominium $4 million, $5 million.
mm,
And forget about single family homes. Some of them are six, $7 million. So the range and the type of product, the one thing about Hudson County versus a lot of the other markets that you might work in is that we sell everything. As a
mm,
residential real estate agent, I sell single family homes, condominiums, co-ops, one, two families, three families, and four families. You got to be versed in everything. And some of the properties I sell are banging, like gorgeous homes, and
mm,
others the one I have a property right now under contract in Jersey City, and there's no power or water going into the property.
mm,
So it's very drastically different. And a
mm,
funny story on a YouTube ad that I received, I actually closed on him probably 6, 7 months ago. And it was funny because my website has all these pretty, pretty properties.
mm,
Go to meet with him, and he wasn't sure. I mean, he hired me right on the spot because the one thing with YouTube ads is when you meet people, they feel like they know you already. And
mm,
there's something about that talk to camera that creates familiarity. Anyway, I go in for the interview, I go over everything, how I sell homes. And one of the things he said to me, he loved me. Like I said, he hired me right away. But the one thing he said was, I saw your website and I was a little concerned because you have all these really pretty homes.
mm.
And the case is that not everything we sell is pretty.
Right.
It's the dramatically different properties that we work on in Hudson County, which besides it being fiercely competitive in this area, it's also you have to have lots of levels of expertise in order to survive. You can't just sell pretty homes.
Right. And is that kind of like what led you into like personal branding? Did you want to kind of like show that, hey, this is how I'm different and really build that connection? Or what was that original kind of point where you started to
So
use it?
the social media, I would say a lot of it honestly started when I found Posse and Eli. So when I
Yeah.
encountered Realtor Accelerator, I connected right away to your ad. I got hooked right in. And
Mm,
the reason why is because it was all about attraction-based marketing. So a
right.
lot of the things that I've been doing in my business really originated from the Realtor Accelerator program, starting with coming up with organic Facebook posts
Mm,
where they weren't about selling something. They were about connecting, offering expertise, sharing client stories.
mm,
Right out the door, that made a lot of sense to me. And of course, I've evolved my business since then, but it was a big catapult to bring me to where I am today because previously I made cold calls and
mm.
I was good at it. I was totally comfortable on the phone, but it's grueling. You're on the phone, you're
Right.
waiting for someone to answer the phone, nobody answers, people yell at you. But at the end of the day, like if you could connect with someone, you usually could get the deal. But at the end, I just didn't think it was sustainable. So to
Right.
me, finding the Realtor Accelerator program was honestly a godsend to point me in the direction of where I am today, where on Instagram, I'm getting reach up to sometimes over 1 million.
Mm,
But my more recent, it's not always 1 million. That's kind of like an anomaly, but I have a lot of
right.
posts that are going, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, 200,000. It's not uncommon to see that happen with an
Right.
Instagram post.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially, I guess, like going to the future, right? We're looking at things like AI, right? And things like, especially nowadays, right? There's a lot of virtual assistants that do the cold calling. So it can
Right.
definitely be tougher, even if you are like really, really good at cold calling, right? So that
Yeah.
definitely made sense. I guess like for you initially, when you kind of like started looking at that like more attraction-based marketing, right? What was that essentially like? Because like a lot of people, they say, hey, it's too difficult, right? It's too tech, like there's too much technology you have to learn. And it's really difficult to basically do it. So how do you kind of overcome that initial like fear that most people at least have?
Well, the one thing with real estate, and I've had a lot of people that want to be mentored by me at my real
Mm,
estate brokerage, and a lot of times they don't like to hear what I have to say. But at the end of
mm,
the day, you have to pick your way at how you want to market your business, and you also have to believe in yourself. And
yes.
I believed in myself, and I believed that attraction-based marketing was really the right way to go. Just knowing the circle of friends that I hang out with, like nobody wants to be
Mm,
sold. People want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. I mean, that's like a common phrase that everyone uses. So for
yes.
me, it was a little scary, right? Here I was making cold calls. All of a sudden, I'm saying I'm not
Mm,
going to do it anymore. I'm going to go all in on social media. I'm going to work on my video skills. I'm going to learn how to speak to camera, find the right angles, have
mm.
the right lighting. I mean, I have so much equipment that I've purchased. It's embarrassing. But at the end of the day, I do believe that, to me, that's the way to go is that attraction base. And you've got to take a risk. We're business owners. At the end
Yes.
of the day, we're not salespeople, we're business owners. And when you make a business decision, you have to go all in. And to me, attraction-based marketing just makes a lot more sense. And there's definitely a ramp up with everything. But you make
Exactly.
sure that you have the money put aside or you find the money
Mm,
and you make it happen. I don't know if I
right.
answered.
Yeah, no, definitely that made sense. I guess like when you first recorded that like first video ever, right? What was it like? Was it scary or was it just like you just recorded it or how do you feel?
I mean, I had done a lot of training on video before that, or maybe during all that. So I kind of figured out, like, for example, when you're doing a video,
Mm,
you record one, you have a script, and
right.
then you memorize one line at a time. And then you
Yes.
just record one line at a time and then clip it together. You don't have to record the whole entire video together. No one
Yes.
cares. I've gotten so many leads on videos where I take the piece of paper, I read it, blah, 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 blah. And I try to stay in the same place, but it really doesn't matter either. And you
Yes.
don't need fancy editing. And then, I had a lot of help from Eli from your team. So, like, to me, I always felt like I had the support and like each step of the way. I mean, you guys have been amazing helping me first with my organic social media, reviewing what I'm doing, then moving on to producing ads, helping me with the ads, which were not salesy ads. They're more about getting to know me or sharing information, my expertise, and then leading up to the YouTube ads. So I just feel like everything's all integrated, and you don't even need to pay for ads. You could pay for the cheapest ads, which are the
Yes.
omnipresence ads.
Exactly, exactly. Because I think that's like what's holding a lot of people back, right? Because they have this vision that, hey, I'm going to record a video and I have to speak 20 minutes on the video, right? And there can be mistakes. There can be
Oh
no
yeah.
fumbling, right? So when you have those systems and you actually, okay, I have this script. This is how you actually have a script and where you come up with the ideas, right? How you do all of that. And then when you have somebody check your stuff, right, look at your video, give you some feedback. I think for a lot of people, at least based on my experience, they kind of get into a groove of it and kind of start getting comfortable on the camera as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the other thing you can do, like, because a lot of us are pretty vain, is you just take your
Mm,
phone and you look at yourself and you move through your wherever you're going to be recording and you
mm,
move through and then you find out where the best lighting is. And then that's where you put your camera, wherever the best
yes.
lighting is. So I think like
Exactly.
those, to me, those are the two to me. So yes, recording, you don't have to record in one big block. So that's definitely a key takeaway. I think a lot of people, like you said, think that they have to record that entire video. You don't. You can basically talk. And even if you wanted to stand still and talk, all of a sudden, if you make a mistake, you could be, okay, scratch that, say that line again.
Yes.
But for me, the biggest issue that was for me for recording videos was the lighting. Like
Mm,
I was crazy because I want to look good on camera.
mm. Did you end up getting like the
I
box lights, or how did you go
Yeah,
about the
I got
lighting?
everything. But at the end of the
Nice.
day, the best light is out. And look, the windows over there is outside light. The best light,
Yeah.
not outside, but being in front of a window. But that to me has always been the bane of my existence is getting, I guess, the script itself, making sure I have a solid script, but also the
Yes.
lighting would really, that delays me a lot of times from recording.
Yeah, yeah, and it makes like a huge
I
difference.
bet you
Like,
there's other people like
yeah,
me.
yeah, 100%. And it does really make like a night and day difference. Like if you have the same picture in the same exact place, if you have
Yeah,
bad lighting, it's unusable. Basically, you have good lighting. Like all these things really do add up, and especially with the other things you mentioned as well.
right.
And I guess like, are you recording right now through your phone, or do you have some sort of professional camera or something like this that you're using?
I've gone back and forth where I do have the camera,
Mm,
but honestly, it becomes way too complicated to use the
yes.
camera. It just I've had where I'm like moving in the camera and I'm like, what the hell? It's blurry. So honestly, I have the latest iPhone, and to me, this is the best camera. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
use this to record, you know, uh, these videos are so, even on YouTube, they're so short-lived. You don't, no one cares. No one cares. Like, as much as I'm talking about being vain and wanting to
Yes.
look good, nobody cares what you look like. They want to hear what you're,
Exactly.
that's all they care
Exactly.
about is what you're saying. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Exactly. And that's what I noticed as well. Like, there's a lot, this is one of the beliefs, by the way, like a lot of people have. They think they need to have like a video person come to their house and
Oh my
record
God,
like
no.
like a video. And it's actually like even the same for us. So we have a like literally $2,000 camera. We have the box light. We have everything like the setup. We have $1,000 microphone. But at the end of the day, like we can just record with an iPhone and we get basically the same exact result. It's 99%
Totally.
of the way there. So if I'm like traveling, I can literally record the video and it's going to be just as good. Obviously, like it's good to have that, like you said, like the latest iPhone or at least an iPhone that's like maximum 2 years old. Older
Right.
than that, you will start to kind of notice a little bit of that difference there for sure. But I guess for you specifically, so you had obviously in the program too, we go over all the platforms. We go Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, right? All these platforms. But for you specifically, which platform would you say has been like the best as far as reach, as far as like leads, all these different things?
I would say Instagram. I mean, I
Mm,
will say like I just recently started posting my stuff from Instagram to Facebook.
mm,
There definitely is opportunity on Facebook, but I think it became like I wanted to be a cool kid. So
mm.
that's why I focus on Instagram. But I
Fair
have
enough.
received leads from Instagram. And I did actually recently close a property. I helped my friend sell her parents' property in an area that I don't normally serve, and she
Mm.
saw me on Facebook.
Yes. So kind of like that, I guess like that's exactly what kind of go room program as well. Like focusing on like one platform as like your main growth
Yeah,
channel, right? And then you have like other platforms you want to also be on to kind of keep still that omnipresence. Because at the end of the day, there are some people, right? They're just not going to be on like Instagram, right? No matter if you get a million views on one post,
right.
right? There are some people that are not there. But if you just stay top of mind across all of the platforms, at least, right, you're gonna get that benefit. And especially what we kind of notice is like you said, right, it was your friend, right, or somebody you know. but then your post kind of like gets you top of mind, so to remember you, right? And then you work with them. So I guess
Yeah.
like yeah, being top of mind, right? That's really, have you kind of noticed that helping you to grow the business, like reactivating some of this fear a little more, or what kind of benefits have you seen in terms of that top of mind approach?
So, like I said, like most of my focus is on Instagram, and
Mm,
I get a lot of business from Instagram that I couldn't necessarily say it's from Instagram, but I kind of know
mm,
it is.
right.
So I live, I said I lived in Hoboken, and I live in a condominium, and there's over 230 units, and then there's other
Mm,
buildings around me that are pretty large like this. And what happens is because my Instagram, I do a lot of it, a lot of my Instagram is about romanticizing Hoboken. I
mm,
do work in other areas of Hudson County, but my Instagram is focused on Hoboken because
mm,
it's where I live, but it's also easier when you pick, it's kind of like picking one platform to grow. It makes sense to pick one town to grow because when you try to be everywhere, you're not really successful. And
mm,
I do post about other areas. I post about general Hudson County, but my stuff is Hoboken. So what happens is a lot of these buildings, they start to see my stuff and then they start following me. So for example, I have a woman that lives in my building and she's referred me a few buyers and she connected with me on Instagram. And then it just turns out
mm,
that we live in the same building. And now I'm helping her buy an investment property.
mm. Yeah,
So
that's like,
it's like,
yeah,
and then there's
yeah.
other people like, and so then there's another woman that actually refers me a ton of business. It's all rental listings, but they're high-end rental listings. Like one rental listing I plan on getting, I'm waiting for paperwork. It's over 11,500 a month. It's probably going to be
Mm,
$12,000 a month. And that is because the woman that referred me, she's on my Instagram. Even though I do see her
mm,
in the building every now and then, really very rarely, she's on my Instagram, so that keeps me top of mind. And
mm.
I
Yeah,
also got,
that's,
yeah, so
yeah.
it's like it's all kind of related. And then I had another woman approach me we have a large HOA. There's actually three buildings.
Mm,
And one of the buildings, a woman met me at one of the parties and she's like, "Oh, I love your Instagram. I wanted to meet you." And she's
mm,
older. That I wouldn't have
yeah,
expected. I think she was like maybe 70 or 80 years old. Like
yeah,
I was taken back by that. So
yes.
it's a way. And like I said, sometimes I'll be walking down the street and I can, even though I don't do as many talk to camera videos anymore, I do want to sit down this week and kind of think through some more talk to camera videos I could use. But I do
Mm,
post a lot of pictures of myself. I do a professional photo shoot twice a year and I post those pictures so then they'll recognize me. So I'll walk down the street and I can tell someone's like looking at me.
yes. Yeah, that's
Like a
that's that's
double check.
huge. Yeah, that's huge because like we always talk about like it's always about the relationship, not about just getting contact information, right? And that's like exactly, I guess like what's really like the benefit of personal branding for real estate is the fact that hey, like it's not that like you just call the lead and you just talk to somebody and they're like, boom, now you're getting the listing, right? But a lot of it has to do with exactly those types of connections. So that's exactly what we have seen like across all of our clients, especially with organic social media. It's not always even, and actually most of the times, actually it's a referral. So somebody, you have like 2,000 people on your friend list, and then somebody sees a post and they're, again, like you said, like friend needs to sell a house or something like this. And that's
Right.
exactly what it really comes down to. It's kind of interesting that you said that because like when you post Instagram reels, right, a lot of those get targeted geographically. So where you're actually
Yeah.
posting the reel, that matters a lot. And that's actually a really good strategy that you have there because again, you post a reel about Hoboken, right? It's targeted both in terms of the content, but also
Yes.
in terms of geographic, right? So you get a lot of those local people to see that. So that definitely makes sense. I guess like outside of that, right? I know you said you posted on YouTube, right? These different platforms. What's been your experience, as example, let's say with YouTube?
I actually feel pretty strongly that YouTube is a good lead generation source,
Mm,
but unfortunately, the bandwidth that I have doesn't allow me to be in the organic space it
Mm,
gets to a point where you're just like, let me just focus on this. So, like, my goal right now is to get Instagram to a point where it's generating very frequent leads. The problem with a lot of these platforms is you generate also a lot of scammers where they
mm,
message you and they're like, can we go on WhatsApp? And I'm like,
right.
no.
Mm,
But, as far as the, so I do have some really good videos on YouTube, but I just haven't been doing that. But I really liked the YouTube ads. The one great thing about YouTube ads is that when you run them and the people meet with you, they feel like they know you already. Like I've had people
mm,
tell me, I could just tell from the video you're really nice,
mm,
so it definitely is a lot more receptive than say when I have done Facebook ads for people to get a price on your home. So that's when I say
mm,
ads, I'm speaking about ads and say, hey, would you, it's more thought through than this, but basically I'm asking them would they like to get a price on their home. And
mm,
on YouTube, it was a lot more successful and a lot warmer. And I have a lot of leads. I have a huge pipeline of people
mm,
that I follow up with, and I also revamped my email strategy. So I'm sending 4 emails a week, 4 emails a month. And
mm,
again, like salesy emails, they're more just like sharing information. I try to make them more thoughtful, and they're
mm.
done with flow decks. They have pictures of me just to keep me top of mind.
Got it, got it. Yeah, and also like with YouTube, I guess it's like it is like much more like in a sense that in that sense, right? It's a little bit harder to make a YouTube video, say, but in some market, it's like a lot easier. So it really depends on the market as well, like which
Oh yeah.
platforms.
And the
I
other thing I want
assume.
to bring up is that,
Mm,
prior to, so initially in your program, Realtor Accelerator, you did not have the YouTube ads.
mm,
And I had known that they were a great idea, but like I had no idea what to do.
mm,
And when you guys put out that program, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe they're giving this to us. Because
mm,
nobody on the market explains how to run YouTube ads like you do. And
mm,
then in addition, it's not just about the YouTube ad, it's then layered on it is the omnipresence campaign that hits people on Facebook and YouTube. I mean, sorry,
mm.
hits people on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes,
And so to
exactly.
me, like it's like a whole
Mm.
integrated strategy that puts you front and center in front of people.
I guess like for the people watching this, like how would you explain the omnipresence strategy? Like, because usually people wouldn't know that unless they're been on the channel or our clients. But how would you say
So,
what would that be?
I mean, everybody might do theirs a little bit differently, but mine are
Mm,
set up where I have first I have a few, so I have about 12 ads. And the first set of ads are more educational, where I kind of explain things about the market. I might educate people on something going on in the market. I might tell them about capital gains taxes. So I talk about educational videos. One set
mm,
is educational. The second set, I might be talking about my clients, and I talk about client success stories. And these can
mm,
be videos or posts. It just depends on what I'm thinking about that day. But when I set up the ads, and then so it's client stories, educational posts, then it's get to know me ads. So they're just basically a caption talking about who I am. So if you want to work with me, this is who I am. And then
mm,
lastly, sales based ads, which say, hey, do you want to set up a one-on-one consultation? And
mm,
they're very cheap. You spend anywhere from $1 to $1.50 a day. I think with 12 ads running at $1 or $1.50 a day is like a little over $400 a month,
right.
and they don't pop up frequently. The specific ad, I think I make it so that you can't see it every 6 days or something, or 7 days. I'm not even sure. But
Mm,
basically, the idea is it's omnipresence, meaning that I am present. You see me. I don't know if that's the right definition, but basically, it's
yes.
it's an opportunity for people to get to know me and not feel sold to. And there's because of the different types of ads, it also presents in a way that's not salesy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that's like huge thing. I think like lacking for most realtors, right? Is like they run an ad and then they're like sending a bunch of call to actions for email, right? There's nothing happening
Right.
after. right? And
Right.
then the other piece is like you have a database, right? And then all the leads have come through throughout the years. You built the database, right? And for a lot of people, they're just not using that database for anything. So it's just like
Right.
emails going out, right? And then nobody, because like a lot of people send their emails from like a tool. Like there's a lot of different CRMs, right? And their email reputation is really bad because of the CRM. A lot of people use, like the open rates are really low, but especially nowadays, the email open rates have been like much lower than they were
Okay.
like 5, 10 years ago. So that's
Totally.
why, yeah. But yeah, I always say this like on a call when I'm on with either like a potential new clients, right? It's like omnipresent strategy is like the best money you can ever spend because
Oh,
you can spend,
completely. Best money.
yeah.
Like I'm stressed out because I'm not running my omnipresence campaign right now. I was trying to like pull back on
Mm,
money a little bit just for a little. I was like rearranging a few things.
mm,
But I'm like, I also was waiting to be quite frank. I was waiting for new pictures. I got my hair
mm.
cut, so I needed new pictures for the omnipresence campaign. So I finally got them a couple of weeks ago and I need to get it back up and running. And I'd like to do some it's funny because in the omnipresence campaign, I do things very differently than what I do in my organic social media. And I don't
Mm,
know if it was by design why I did it this way, but I feel with ads, people are more receptive when it's me talking to camera
mm.
or it's a photo of me. I don't like to
Yes.
do a lot of my organic Instagram that really performs well
Mm,
are Hoboken, romanticizing Hoboken. So,
mm.
like this is what your life would look like if you lived in Hoboken. It's better than
Right.
that. It's kind of what it is. And for some reason, I don't think those are appropriate for the omnipresence campaign.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it really depends, right? So really, a lot of times we can do it two ways, right? You could either take your best organic posts and then post it on the ads, in which case there's like a CPM, so how much you pay per thousand people, right? If it's a viral post, it's going to be just really, really low, like how much you actually pay for the ad.
Okay.
Or obviously, then the benefit of those omnipresence ads, you can make like a call to action, like, hey, let's go book a call to my calendar, right?
Right.
That's obviously a post that organically it would never perform, right? Like you would have 200 views or something on the if you made a
Yeah.
post. But with paid ads, you can run a lot of views to it, right? And then those views can be very, very targeted, right? So then the people that see them can be, example, those people in the database or past listing leads or something like that.
Yes.
So yeah, but yeah, that's something I definitely talk a lot about, right? Because again, even for you, you are in a very competitive market, right? But it's only like 300, $400 you can spend. And in many markets, actually, it's like $100 or $200.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
mine's
because of the
pretty
CPMs.
expensive.
Yeah. Well, it's the market, right? The deal size, commission, right? That determines a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
the costs, right? So if you're in a small city, right, that's less expensive. But even then, like, okay, let's say it's $5,000 per or $10,000 per listing that you sell, and you can spend $100, $200, right? That's a 50x ROI. Or if you're in Hoboken, right, you make $15,000, you spend 400. That's a large ROI. We're talking about again 50, 100x ROI. So that's why that's one of the things I always talk to people about. It's that omnipresence campaign. But I guess like to ask like two final questions, right? So in terms of your experience working with us, right? What was that like? Like, can you tell us a little bit more about like the support? What was it like being in a program? What was that whole experience like for those people wondering that are maybe not yet clients?
Honestly, you guys are the best. I mean, I don't, and I'm really critical, so I'm not one to give out compliments that easily. But I just feel like the program itself, I mean, you have to be dedicated and you listen to videos. So if you're not someone that's going to listen to videos, it might not work for you. But with that said, the support that you get when you're listening to videos is amazing. And even after the videos, the fact that, like, when I was doing my first round of, and actually many rounds of my organic posts, the fact that I could put it in a Google Doc and then have Eli review it and then get back to me and make updates. To me, the amount of support that you guys have given has been amazing. There is only one other person I've worked with in my whole career as a real estate agent and corporate that has put in so much dedication. So you're not the only one, but basic. So that makes it more legit that you're not the only person I felt this way about, but pretty much there are only two people I've worked with because a lot of people want to sell a product. They have all these ideas, but at the end of the day, they just want to sell the product. They
Right.
don't want to help you. And with your group, I feel like you guys really wanted to help you, like even years later. And I think it's actually been more than 2 years, by the way. It's been like a
Right.
lot of years we've been working together. And, that investment that I made was the best investment I've ever made in all of my real estate career. And, if I need help, I just ask you guys. And like I said, your hands on, Eli is hands on. He gives direct feedback. I really couldn't ask for more.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, thank you for those kind words. Great to hear. And yeah, I agree with you. So like a lot of times I see people they purchase something, right? But then there's no one-on-one support. So nobody
Right.
looks at the content, looks at the ads, looks at these sorts
Totally.
of different things.
Yeah, they
And
just let
that,
you
yeah,
go on your own and you're just like, whoa, but I need help. Like you guys go in my ads account and you go in and you update it and you're like, oh, you got to change this.
yes.
So the fact it's like that hands-on support is critical because it's one thing to listen to a tutorial, listen to a video, and those videos are amazing. But it's another thing to get that next level of support, to have someone actually go in your ads manager and figure out how to tweak it or set it up for you if that's needed. Like for me, I was able to
Yes.
set up a lot of the stuff myself, but there's a lot of people that can't set it up themselves. They need you to go in and do it for them. And you guys do that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's always like a mix between like, hey, like there are like completely done for you services, right? Where it's like completely impersonal, where there's no realtor or anything like that, right? And then a mix between like, hey, like if you want to build a personal brand, right, we need to put your content, like your market out there, right? And
Yeah.
your personality, right? So there's like that perfect balance, like, hey, that's why the videos are there, right? So the realtor understands like this is how these things work, right? And
Right.
then maybe there's something like, okay, we actually look at your ad account or look at these things or do something for you like a tech site, which is something
Right.
you can do most of the times like one time setup, right? So you do it one time and it's going to be there for years. And that's like exactly the reason why we decided to build this way, right? So it's like personal. We get to implement that personal branding, right? But then also we get realtor to do actually get these results, right? Get these things happening because that's what's holding a lot of people back as well, right? Maybe some of those things like tech side, like how does the ad manager work or pixel
Oh
work
yeah,
or
no, and I mean I've heard some of your other clients, and like I happen to be technical, but I can tell a lot
yeah,
of those people are not technical, and you guys
yes,
help them.
exactly, exactly. And that's like you said, like those little tweaks, right? Like sometimes people ask me like, hey, like what do I do in this situation, right? And then I tell them like one thing. And I noticed like 3 months later, right, they come back and like I got 5 listings or 10 listings. And those
Right.
little things like you just said, like in the one-on-one chat, like little comments, right? That's what really often makes that difference. And then going back later, right? If there wasn't that one little comment, if the person was just by themselves, right, they could have just gotten stuck there, right? So it's like moving
Yeah,
down.
totally.
So
No,
yeah,
totally.
all of that definitely makes sense, and I agree with you. But
Okay.
awesome, Geraldine, thanks for your time. I really appreciate the interview here today. Any final thoughts you want to share with the viewers?
Sign up. No I'm kidding. Just that, like I said, I think I said this in the beginning that the Realtor Accelerator program really changed the trajectory of my business and shifted my focus to attraction-based marketing. And a little piece of information that I didn't share. I was working with another coach years ago, and when I had told him I was going to switch my business all the way over to attraction-based marketing,
Mm,
he really got kind of nasty with me and said, why? Because I was making cold calls at the time. And he said, why
right.
would you stop making cold calls where that has been successful in your business? And I turned to him and I was like, because I said to him that I get where you're coming from, but cold calls are not sustainable. It is
Mm,
not a sustainable business model. You know who is a sustainable business model for? Someone that has no personality, that wants to lock themselves in a closet and make phone calls and drive people crazy. And I knew
yes.
it just was not sustainable. You'll burn out. And ultimately, finding the Realtor Accelerator program, like I said, was a godsend because it really helped me realize, okay, I want to do this. It's successful. And I am forever grateful for meeting you and getting your help. So thank you.